new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees and shares all things new. I am your host, Frances Bauer, and this is Design Your Life.
Do you like to watch and live vicariously through others' family lives, travels, relationships, passions? This show is here to encourage you to go beyond just dreaming. We'll show you some things that'll stretch your beliefs, and you'll meet some people whose real-world experiences and perspectives just might help you figure out how to go after the life you want, and maybe even break some mental barriers you didn't realize you had. This is Design Your Life with Frances Bauer.
Well, welcome, Leonard, to our show. Thank you so much for being open to sharing your story with us. Yeah, absolutely. And so, of all the things that we've been talking about, or I've been able to say about you with our audience, I just wanted to find out tell us a little bit about your beginnings, what that looks like. How does someone like you start off in life? What did that look like for you?
So growing up in Hawaii, it's very multicultural, but I grew up with a single mom. She was a very hard worker, and so I get my work ethic from her. And the thing is being a single mom in Hawaii. I mean, even back then, it was very expensive, and she wasn't highly educated. She wasn't. She didn't have a degree. She basically worked in a fast food restaurant. But she had at least 2 jobs at all times. Sometimes she had 3 jobs. And so, we also grew up on state assistance.
How do you take care of 3 kids with 3 jobs?
Sorry,
how many kids
2
are
kids.
you? 2 kids. How do you take care of 2 kids with 3 jobs?
Exactly. That's the amazing thing, right? And not 2 high-paying jobs, right? 2, for the most part, low-paying jobs. And so, again, so her not fearing work, it was just getting the best that she could. And she did an amazing, wherever she worked really hard. And so, learning, number one, growing up and realizing the situation we're in, it gave me the drive to work harder, so that my kids wouldn't have to go through the same situation I went through.
What did that look like from the perspective of a child?
Well, one, I didn't have a male figure in my life, so I wanted to make sure that never, my children didn't have to go through that. But then I didn't have a role model.
Because she was always working.
She was always working, and I didn't have a male role model, right? So I didn't have someone to emulate a father figure, right? So growing up and being a father was difficult because I didn't have that as an example. But there's certain memories that I still remember that I think shaped who I am today, or I shouldn't say who I am today, but shaped what my drive. And one particular one that stands out, and it still drives me till today, is so my mom, back then it was called food stamps. I think now it's called EBT.
Sure. Yeah.
And so she said, "Here's your allowance," and give me a $5 food stamp.
Oh.
My friend was standing right there, and so then we went to the store, and he's like, "Hey, what's that? What's that?"
He didn't know what it was.
He'd never seen it before, and I was ashamed, right? Because that's I was like identifying that. Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so I went to the store and I bought us something and I got the change, and he kept asking, so I finally had to tell him.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me because I remember that feeling of just feeling junk and not feeling worthy, feeling less than.
So for our international viewers, would you care to explain what that is? What are food stamps for those who are not, from the United States? Or
So it's just getting a subsidy from the government to so that we could survive. My mom obviously wasn't making enough money to make ends meet, and so she would get government assistance.
Okay.
And so that's all it was. And the food stamps, it looked like currency.
Oh, okay. I thought it looks like a little voucher check kind of thing. No.
No, it looked like a
Monopoly money.
Exactly. It looked like Monopoly money.
Okay.
And so you basically go to a store and exchange it, and they would treat it like money because they would turn it into the government and they would get reimbursed.
Sure.
And so so that's what food stamps are. And so it was a very, for me, that moment. Again, a lot of what creates my drive is what I didn't like.
Okay.
Right? Not so much what I want. So a lot of people go for what they want. I'm driven by what I don't want. What I don't want my kids to go through. What I don't want to ever have in my life. What I don't want to experience ever again. And so that's kind of where I draw the line, and I fight as hard as I can. It's like a salmon swimming upstream. I'm going to keep fighting and get as far away from this line as I possibly can. And so what I do want, I do want some things, and I do strive for that, but that doesn't drive me as much as what I don't want.
Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense?
It absolutely does. So you're going from, as a kid, you were embarrassed because, and there are probably multiple things, multiple times in your life where it was kind of, you felt exposed to your friends that, or just even having to explain to your friend who had no idea what that was, what that food stamp was, right? From there to when did you finally have the opportunity to start working, and what did that look like? And tell me, the progression of from that to where you are today. Can you give us a quick?
So I started working before I could legally work.
Okay.
I started doing little things, delivering newspapers at about 10 years old.
That's legal, right?
Well, I think even then they didn't want it at 10. I think they wanted you to be a teenager,
12, 13
years old.
Okay.
Because of safety reasons. Because
Sure,
you gotta go on it. Back then we had to go and collect money.
Oh, that's not safe.
That's not safe because I'm at your door.
But you were probably a big kid, though.
No, I wasn't.
Why not?
No, I wasn't. And so, so I remember, and then you got to learn how to budget money because you're collecting money. Then you got to go and take that and pay for. It's like you were given a bill, right? So you delivered 50 newspapers.
Okay.
Well, guess what? Now you got to pay for those 50 newspapers. So if you got the money and then you go spend it, it's like, oh shoot.
You can't pay for your next 50.
Right.
I see.
So you have to learn all these things. But so I was always hustling to figure out how am I going to make more money. Because again, it wasn't that I wanted more money, but I realized having more money made sure that I didn't go back here. I didn't have to go and ask my mom for allowance, which is food stamps. I could go, I had my own money, right? And I wanted that. At an early age, I realized how important that independence was for me. And so, so then once I was able to legally get a work permit, I started working at restaurants and just work. I mean, always, again, like my mom, because of the example she said, always had 2 jobs, right? So went to school, boom, went to work. which is good because then I can't spend the money.
Right.
So there's the benefit to that. And then just going through the process, and then eventually getting into the union and learning a skill. And then, but what that allowed me to do was be around people that had a little more money, not necessarily wealthy, but they had that spendable income, and now you get to see what life is on the other side of the tracks.
When you're not just trying to breathe, just trying to keep your nose above water.
Yes.
Okay.
Which now allows me to go, okay, there is light at the end of the tunnel. How do I get there? Right. So again, and most people won't come to you and say, hey, let me show you how.
Right.
But for me, I'm always observing. I'm watching what people do, and I'm watching and I'm listening. So when I'm hearing people talk, I might not look like I'm paying attention, but my ear is right there going, okay, what are they talking about? And trying to figure out what they're saying, right? And then, and then I can come in and then learn what they're doing because they're sharing, and then I would go and apply it. Right, and that's how I was starting to learn about business, and then I started jumping into different, say, network marketing companies.
Okay.
Which then taught me business skills.
Okay.
Taught me how to manage a business and how to manage money and how to sell certain things and whatever the mindset and all that stuff. So. A lot of people have negative connotations.
I was about to ask, like, if somebody were to be like, network marketing, that's not a real business. That's not, you don't buy a building, hire employees. What's your thoughts on that perspective?
Exactly, it's your perspective, right? It's because it's what we envision a business to be. But what is a business? A business is just a way to transact.
Okay.
And so long as you're providing a service or something of value to someone else, and you're able to make a transaction, that's the start of a business. It doesn't make a business, but that's the start of a business. And then from there you can grow it into other. You can grow it as big as or as small as you want. So even a networking company, the beautiful thing about that, so I've had traditional businesses.
Okay. What did you have? What did you run?
I had 5 cell phone stores. Right. So technically, it's no different from a network marketing company because I had to report to a company, right? I have to get my goods and services from them. They do all the billing, right? But it was my own business, right?
Is that in conjunction with Mr. 808?
That is Mr. Yes. And so, so I have to go purchase inventory. I got to get my own leases. I got to hire my employees. Yes, I have to do all of that stuff, right? And people think, well, that's the ideal world. No, it's not. If you ask me if I want to do that ever again, absolutely not. Right? Because I found myself, I was the psychiatrist. I was a counselor. I was a babysitter. I was, I was every role out there except
you were Mother Goose.
I was Mother Goose, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about people. But when you're even though I'm in business with my wife and I have the company that we're buying our phones from and selling their services and stuff, you're still a solopreneur.
Okay.
You're still the one-man gang. No one's coming in and teaching you how to run business. They're not giving you the skill sets. And so when I compare that with network marketing, even in the early days, I had a mentor that said, "Hey, Leonard, this is how you do this. This is how you do a presentation. This is how you take an app. This is how you do this. This is how whatever." I had someone walking me through the process. And I learned early that having a mentor, someone who's willing to coach you and teach you, is way more valuable than trying to figure it out on your own, right? Most people aren't able to figure things out on their own.
And that's why a lot of businesses fail in the first
That's why
5
people
years.
fail.
Yeah.
Because you don't have someone looking over and saying, hey, don't do that again. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
let's avoid that whole pothole and go this way,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what you get in a network marketing business. You usually get someone, because they have a vested interest in you. They want
Sure.
to see you succeed. So they're going to coach you and mentor you and take you through every step of the process.
Hopefully they know what they're doing, by the way.
Hopefully
That's
they know what they're doing. Yes, hopefully they
That's
know
like,
what they're doing.
and folks, not that, and we're trying to convert anyone to network marketing. We're just saying
Yes.
this is what exists out
I
there,
compare
and
the two. I'm just
and there's a
comparing the
lot
two.
of great businesses out there that are
Yes.
available, and it's just a matter, I guess, and I'm just speaking my opinion that it's a matter of finding what works for you.
Yes.
Right. And so your experience, so you went traditional, you found a network marketing company that you found value in, and that worked out
Right.
very well for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other side to that is, not only do you have a mentor, but the company already has everything set up for you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to hire employees because they already have all the back office people
Mm-hmm.
that are taking care of your paycheck, taking care of the taxes, taking care of this. I mean, there's some things that you have to still handle on your own.
Sure.
But for the most part, they're taking care of all the
A lot
legal
of
stuff.
the admin stuff, the legal
admin,
stuff.
right? And so it makes your job easier because now all you have to do is focus on one aspect of your business. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
when I had my traditional,
Mm-hmm.
I was the legal department. I was the finance department. I
Mm-hmm.
was a payroll department. I
Mhm.
was all these different things. And it's like,
And I mean, some people like that. I guess
Some
you don't.
people do like that,
Some
and-
you don't.
you know, if it's your fancy, go for it. But you got to be a lot of things to a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I would rather, what I've learned is when you can focus your energy on one thing,
Mm-hmm.
it allows you to be great at it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Versus if you got to do 10 different things,
Sure.
you can't be great at all 10 things. You can
Right.
be good at 10 things,
Mm-hmm.
but I can be great at one thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you master your craft. And that's so once I joined the network company and I started seeing, I mean, it didn't hit me right away.
Okay.
It took a time. I mean,
Okay.
but being part of it and seeing the processes, and then starting my own business and being able to compare the two
Mm-hmm.
made me realize which one I wanted and which one I didn't want. Again, going back to what I don't want, right? So one thing I teach my kids is this: when you go into a buffet line,
Mm-hmm.
my thing is go and taste everything.
Okay.
Just put a little
bit.
just a little bit of everything on your plate,
Mm-hmm.
because it might not look good,
Mm-hmm.
but are you judging the book by its cover,
Mm-hmm.
right? So just put a little bit, and a little bit doesn't mean that again that you have to go eat it all. You can just
Sure.
taste it, right? So now you get to your table and you taste everything. Now you figure out what you like and what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Now your second run to through that buffet line.
Now you know what to go grab.
Now you go and pile on things you want, and you avoid everything that you don't want.
Sure.
And now you come back to your table, and it's just a pile of goodness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I approach life that way. I'll try everything to figure out what I like and what I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Because unless you know what you don't like, you'll never know what you do like,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And so that's why, again, a lot of the things that drive me is what I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to run away from,
I see.
right? So that's why it goes to that buffet line. So yeah. So for me, it's I don't see things as good or bad. I see things more along the lines of better, best, right? This is good, but can I do something that is better? Can I achieve something that is better? Can I, and so it's always, it's not saying something doesn't work. It's saying I'm looking for what does work, and I get attracted to the other direction. But that's also knowing again what I don't like. Right, looking for the characters. So when I look at companies, again, I'm running it through the same filters. I know what I'm looking for in a company. I know what I'm not looking for in a company. And when I'm analyzing who I want to do business with, even when I'm bringing on new team members, I'm taking through the same filters. I know what characteristics I like. I know what characteristics I don't like. And if there's too many other characteristics I don't like, I'm trying to find out how to get out of that meeting.
Right, right.
So,
which is kind of funny. Like, I wonder if maybe you found yourself in a position where they were like, oh my gosh, I want to do this with you, and you don't want to do it with them.
Yes. I have been in that situation.
How do you weasel out of that?
You're
like, no, I don't want to take you on, and they're like,
No.
everyone's begging me to join their little thing, and you don't want me.
Right.
What? Tell us a story.
So it's not that you tell them that you don't want to work with them. You have to be, and this is something I've learned, is you just come in and you somehow start shifting the subject, start changing what you're discussing, and then find a way to end the meeting, and then just never connect again. That's an easier way to do it.
Sure.
Right? Because the other way, number one, I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings, and I don't want to do that. I would rather make it look like, oh yeah, if I don't call you back, then it's on me.
Sure.
Leonard didn't follow up with me, so I now have the ability. I can go talk to anybody else.
Sure.
Awesome. Congratulations.
You want to put the fault on yourself so that it's not okay.
Right. But if I come on and say, hey, I don't want to do business with you. Now you don't like me.
Sure.
And now you have hurt feelings. And now you might go and do something in retribution.
Sure.
To get at me.
Right.
I'd rather not do that. Right. But again, this is learning, because again, I've done other things where I've told people this is how I learned it.
Okay.
Of what not to do. And a lot of things I teach people is things that I've done so you don't have to do it. Right? And yeah, so now it's more I just casually drop the ball, so then that person goes, oh yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing. He didn't follow up with me. Awesome, congratulations, thank you. Right, and now we're all happy. And again, who knows? In 5 years, maybe those characteristics they've learned and gotten better, and maybe now they are a good partner. Because I didn't burn that bridge.
Right.
Now we can decide.
Maybe they've grown, because people grow, people change. You never know.
All the time. Right.
What's a hard stop for you in those situations when you've got, like, generally speaking, where you decide, okay, I don't want to be associated with this person at this point in time?
A big one is integrity.
Okay.
Right. And you can tell if someone is looking to do something shady or not.
How do you probe for that? Now I'm curious. How do you probe for that?
How do you probe for that? I don't know if you can probe for it. You just, through conversation, you can tell, you can kind of tell where their core values are.
Okay.
What's important to them and what's not important to them. You know, and by having conversations, you can ask things that, what have they done in the past? And you know, you can tell by how they respond to certain things what they value. Because what people value is what they are going to shine. And they're going to tell you all about it.
Sure.
Right?
That's where you learn it, yeah.
And that's where you learn it, because now they're telling you what's important to them. And now they're revealing something deep inside of them that is, you know, they don't have to tell you, they don't have to come out and say, hey, Francis, this is what's valuable to me. No, by them talking about it and telling you about it is telling you that it's valuable to them.
The fact that it came to mind, they want to mention it, they want to talk about it.
Yeah. And sometimes, again, they might not think it's a big deal, but in your brain, you're like, well, if you're like that in this situation, then you're most likely going to do that again, because it's, especially if you don't see something wrong with it, then
right, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
then it's
yeah.
like,
Of course you're gonna, of course, and it worked, or you know,
right,
in your eyes it worked,
right, and usually it's closing techniques, right? I mean, like, because I've been through every sales training out there, right, and so there's sales techniques that people use that I think is unethical.
Okay.
Right, and so if they come out and like, if I ask you, hey, so if this is a situation, how would you close a deal? And you start telling me, and I recognize whatever technique you're using. Now I'm like, okay, you're willing to reduce your, what is the word I'm looking for? Where you're not you're not looking out for the best interest of
Okay.
your client.
Sure.
You're looking to just close a deal so you can get paid.
So your service level goes down in the name of commission, of getting a better
Right.
commission.
Right. And you know, again, and it's not to put any industry down, but you see it a lot. Actually, you do see it in our industry, in the insurance industry, the finance industry. You see that a lot. You also see it a lot in car salesmen, right? So they have this reputation.
Yes, they do.
And it's not that they're bad people. It's just as an industry, there's enough bad apples that have gone through it and has created this image.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you know you kind of you just kind of see it in different industries, and you kind of shy away from it, and it's little things like that, right? To me, it's not the big things that will change somebody or make a big deal about something. It's the little things. Because everybody's looking, okay, well, how do I make that $1 million? How do I do this? And they're looking for this huge, like, monumental change. Give me that one idea that's gonna just revolutionize. That usually doesn't exist.
No.
Right? But you find a little thing, or you find something that's already out there, and you find one tweak to it that makes it better. Or one tweak that separates you from the next person. That's what's going to allow you to create success, because it's that one little tweak. Yes, usually it's small things, and it's something.
So just that little constant change.
Yeah.
Just adjust, observe, adjust, observe, adjust,
Exactly. Yep.
observe, adjust. And it sounds like, I mean, I guess that's what it takes too, on top of hard work, to get from, you know, being on food stamps up to where you're at right now. I wanted to say, so what would you say to your former self to encourage, like, if we could send a message back in time to that young man that just had his mother hand him a food stamp in front of his friend?
This is temporary. This is temporary, and if you just focus and get better, you'll never have to do that again. Yeah, it's knowing. It's, again, we all heard it, right? If I knew now if I knew then what I know now, life would be different. And so it's not so much giving my younger self the knowledge I have today, because part of it is the growth. Part of it is going through that journey and understanding who I am, and I wouldn't want to steal that away from a younger self, because that also shaped how I think. It shaped how I do business. It shaped my entire thought process. It shaped my core values, made me realize what's important, what's not important. And so I wouldn't want to steal that away. But just knowing that everything that we're going through is all temporary, and it's going to pass, and it's going to get better. But stay focused,
if you get better, right? Because there are people
yes,
that are still waiting for it to get better.
right. And it's not, so that's a key thing. You said that they're waiting for things to get better. You can't wait for things to get better. You have to go and make it better, right? And so it's just, again, the compound effect by Darren Hardy. It shows you just by making that 1% change every single day, right? How can I improve by 1% every single day? And 360 days later, you've made a complete change. People don't even recognize you anymore. Right? So again, it's not the big thing, it's the little things that we do on a more consistent and persistent basis that allows us to become. So one is knowing that as long as you stay on this positive track, your life is going to change. Knowing that it's temporary, but we cannot wait for it. We gotta, and it's not to mean you gotta go out and give it a gusto and like, I'm gonna make $1 million in the next 6 months. No, it's understanding what the goal is, and then again making those small changes, right? Always analyzing self. That's why one big thing that I've done is I'm always analyzing myself. I don't go and analyze other people. I mean, I do in a way, but I analyze them in a way of, okay, what do I like and what I don't like. Again, using the shopping cart method, using the buffet method. I see something that I like, I say I'm going to add that to my toolbox. And when I see something I don't like, I make sure I'm aware of it. I don't add it to my toolbox, but I'm aware that that's what I don't like. So I make sure that I stay away from doing those things, right? So I do analyze other people, not in a judgmental way, but in a way of how can I use that to make myself better, right? And so when you're doing that, and you're constantly improving yourself, then that's how you get better, and when you get better, then everything around you gets better, right?
Because of you.
Of you, your perspective.
Because of you.
Yes.
I love it. So, can you, because we have an international audience here, we're talking to people from multiple places, and majority, I feel, of which are probably not in the United States.
Okay.
The place where so many people are still trying to get in, you know. But it's funny, on this side of the fence, we understand it's not exactly all that. But
yes.
What do you have to say to those people that are like, Leonard, there's no government assistance where I live. I don't have that same. I don't have that same kind of support or opportunity of living in America. What do you have to say to those people?
Opportunity is all around us. It's all around us. It's that, again, going back to the perspective. It's are we looking for it, right? What you focus on expands. Where you put your energy grows, and so if you're looking for opportunity, it'll present itself, right? But at the same time, if we think there is no opportunity, then you're right. You're 100% right, because you've already closed that door. And so it doesn't mean, okay, I'm thinking of the opportunity, I'm looking for opportunity, and it's going to pop up, because opportunity is going to disguise itself. Because if it was so obvious and blatant, then everybody else would be doing it.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
So sometimes it's us looking at things in a different perspective to say, how, a classic one is if you're doing something and you don't like the service or you don't like the product,
okay,
then you can say, hey, is there a way I can make this better? Or is there a way I can improve on this service? Is there a way that I can improve on the process? That's an opportunity. Because now you can take something that somebody's already doing. You can take a service that somebody, for instance, people that go and clean houses.
Okay.
Right? It's a simple one, because you can say, well, that person they're not detailed, and they didn't do this or whatever. Now you can walk in and say, hey, I'm going to do it way better. I'm going to be more detailed, and you're going to be very clear on your purpose and how you're going to improve the product or the service. Now you have an opportunity to grow that. It doesn't mean you have to come up with the next Apple or the next amazing innovation. You can take what's already in front of you and figure out how to make it better. And that's an opportunity in and of itself. All right, and so that's why opportunity is everywhere, because there's no finite amount. It's just limited to what we can see, our perspectives, our beliefs. That's all it is.
Okay. Did you guys hear that? I mean, if you can make it over here, then well and good, but not everyone has that luxury, right? And then you've got people who are already here on government assistance.
Yes.
And so, So, Leonard, from your story, what would you want people to hear, to be able to take away from your story, what you've learned in your experience?
A big one is your situation, whatever situation you're in today, is not permanent. but your attitude is what's going to determine if it's permanent or not. And if you're looking to make things better, then start with yourself and become the person that, find someone that is, has what you want, and look for the fruit on the tree. Don't look for the shiny objects.
Okay.
Right? Look at their character.
The purse, the car, the shoes.
Right, don't look at all that stuff.
The big house.
Yeah, don't look at that.
The big house.
Those are good, right? Those are good. But a lot of times that's a false front.
Okay.
And just because somebody has the nice house and a nice car, a lot of times in their bank account is negative. Because they didn't manage everything up front. I'm talking about look for the character. Look at who they are, what values do they have, and because generally the people that have good values will have good things in their life. There's going to be good fruit on their tree, right? Because who you are is what comes out. That's the fruit that is born.
You're gonna bear.
Yeah. And so I would tell people, look for someone like that you can emulate, and then figure out what it's going to take to become that person. Right? Again, using the shopping cart method, and it might not be one person.
Okay.
It could be 10 people. Right? You can say, I like these qualities of Nelson Mandela. I like these qualities of, Martin Luther King. I like these qualities of whoever. And now you're going to start defining who you are, what's important to you. Because when you're clear on who you are, that's going to change everything around you again. And so knowing that nothing is permanent is a way to always know that the only thing that is constant is change. And so you're always changing to become better. That's why I keep saying you gotta make your tweaks.
Keep getting better, keep getting better.
Keep getting better. Look for ways to improve yourself. Look for ways to improve your surroundings. Look for ways to add value to other people. That was another big lesson I learned in life.
Yeah. But aren't salespeople always trying to take? Or is it maybe not? Business people in general, people who are trying to get ahead in life are trying to take from everyone else.
And that's a pretty accurate statement. And so when you come in and you have the mindset of, I'm going to add value, it's not about what you're going to get. It's my goal is to add value to everyone and anything around me. Then what happens is the people that are around you they'll eventually see, oh my goodness, Frances is always adding value to me. I can't live without Frances in my life because she has so much value to me, right? Your clients, your prospects will see that you're adding so much value to them that they're not going to want you to leave them. And so at that point, you can make yourself indispensable. None of us are indispensable, but you make yourself less indispensable because we're always adding value. And at that point, now you get to write your own check because you just made yourself more valuable. But it starts with, are you adding value?
I see.
Right? Not how much value can I get. In the beginning, that's a lot of how we start business, and that's how we start our sales career.
We don't start business looking to serve everyone else. We start business because we have ourselves and our families to feed. Right?
Exactly.
How do you bridge that gap? Because
So this is where, again, I like network marketing, because in network marketing, it allows you to keep your job while building your side hustle.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So then if you have Maslow's law says we got to make sure that our basic needs are met first. Right? We can't think of being a philanthropist until our basic needs are met.
Yes.
Right? So starting a business, again, it's scary because there's nothing consistent coming in. And so at least if you have your job, you have your basic needs met.
Okay.
Once your basic needs are met, now you can go out and focus on building your fortune.
Versus having to build a stack and then hoping that you're going to break a profit soon enough to before your stack runs.
Exactly. Yes. Right. And it goes back to protecting the golden goose. I also, one of the things I teach my team members is you have your golden goose, which is, in our case, it's our business, right? And we have to protect it. And what I mean by that is a lot of times, once you start getting some success, you're like, oh, I'm going to hire this person because they need a job. Or I'm going to contribute, or I'm going to commit to giving money to this charity because it's something I believe in. Well, but it's all coming from the golden goose.
Sure.
So when that happens, the potential is this employee might kill your golden goose. Or that charity that you're supporting might grow out of control and might take down your golden goose. So what you do is you set up another fund and you say, this is how much I'm going to contribute to that, and that's my nonprofit. That's my charity. So there's no direct connection to it. When you're going to hire an employee or whatever, you keep everything separate, but you keep the golden goose protected. So if anything goes bad,
sure,
you can cut ties.
No problem.
And the golden goose is still there. Because the golden goose is what's going to feed you and your family forever. And so when you find that, you have to make sure that you build a moat around it and don't let anybody cross.
Into that golden goose.
Don't let anybody cross. And so you just got to protect it and make sure it prospers. Because it's for you and you built it. It's for you and your family, right? But you're not going to get there. It doesn't happen overnight. So let me go back, because again, when you, I know a lot of people, they have their jobs and they hate their jobs. So they as soon as they get an opportunity, they want to quit.
Of course.
And they want to quit, and a lot of times they quit prematurely. Maybe they have some good months, and they might get a big paycheck, and they go, okay, I'm ready.
Sure.
But the foundation isn't there. That's a big one, because if your foundation isn't solid, I mean, the Bible talks about it. If you build your house on sand, it's going to crumble. So you want to build it on rock, right?
Okay, yeah.
So as much as people want to quit their job because they hate it so much, you also don't want to jump here and then it's not ready for you. The concrete is still wet, right? Because then everything crumbles and falls apart, and everything that you worked hard is gone. So there is when you're making that transition, you want to make sure that this is stable and it's bringing in more income than what's bringing in here.
Sure.
You never do. Let's say you're making $1,000 a month. You don't wait till this is $1,000 a month and then you quit. No. This has to be making about 3 to 4 times more than here.
Okay.
Before you quit your job.
I see.
Because now you can start building a nest egg, so that if something does happen, you can tap from here to keep you solvent, right? And so again, there's certain principles that you follow, but it's never jumping too soon.
Okay.
Because that's a scary one. A lot of people do that.
Yes, I tell people it's a trap. I've told folks it is a trap. Being responsible for your own paycheck can be a trap.
Yes.
If you don't have your systems in place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I actually do recall telling some of these, I make sure you don't need to touch your paycheck. And he jumped and he came back and told me, Francis, you were right, it's a trap. Because what's the first thing that they do after when they leave a job going into being a freelancer, self-employed, whatever form that looks like, is they take a vacation and you lose all that.
All that momentum, all everything you just worked hard in the last couple of months is gone. Yeah. And the other thing to that too, you bring up an interesting thing, is that when we're transitioning from a job to being a business owner, it takes different skill sets.
Okay.
And this goes to mindset.
Just because you've been a manager, supervisor, what have you at your job doesn't necessarily mean you can run a business on your own?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Right? Because it takes a completely different skill set. It takes a different discipline. And I think that's what is missing, because as an employee, we have to show up at a certain time and we go home at it. So we're we're used to this discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's going to tell me what to do. I have my job description. I have all this laid out for me. I know exactly what I have to do. But when you go into business for yourself, no one's going to tell you what to do. No one's going to tell you when to wake up. No one's going to tell you when to quit. No one's going to tell you what your job description is. You got to figure all that out. And too often, what happens is people go into business for themselves, and next thing you know, because no one's there to tell them, oh, you got to show up at a certain time.
They show up to the workplace at 11.
Or they might not show up at all for weeks.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so it's before you're making that transition again, it's making sure that you've created that discipline, right? That you know, hey, I'm responsible for my own paycheck. I don't show up to work, I'm not going to get paid.
Right.
So in some cases, it's taking the same employee mindset and bringing it here, but instead you're the employer employing yourself, and you're telling yourself, okay, this is what needs to get done. This is what needs to get done. And now you still show up to work. You still show up when you're supposed to show up, and you still have your job description. But now the only difference is your boss is different because now you're the boss.
Right.
And what you're doing is different because now you're not working for somebody else. You're working for yourself. So you still have the same mindset. It's just that you've created a different discipline.
Being your own boss doesn't sound like all it's cracked up to be.
Not always.
Not always.
Not always. I mean, there's the moments. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of benefits of being your own boss.
Sure.
Right. But then it comes with its share of frustrations as well. Right, and its own fair challenges. But so again, but you just gotta weigh the pros and cons of each one, right? In my opinion, there's cons on being a business owner, but the pros outweigh the cons, right? But I think it's also walking in with a realistic perspective, and not walking in thinking it's all going to be roses and sunshines and unicorns, right? Sure. A lot of times it's like, I'm going to be my own boss and I'm never going to have problems ever again. No. You're setting yourself for a huge trap and great failure. So walking in with a realistic point of view and understanding that I'm going to have my days. But if I get better at what I'm doing, then those challenges slowly go away. Right? And the beautiful thing is you actually do control your challenges.
How do you control your challenges?
Because once a challenge comes to you, you can decide if it's something that impacts your business or not. That's the first question. If it doesn't impact your business, then don't worry about it.
Okay.
If it impacts your business, then you got to figure out what skill set is needed to then take care of that challenge. So that's how it's being proactive about things, not reactive. See, as an employee, we're taught to be reactive. As an entrepreneur, you have to be proactive.
Right.
To me, the definition of an entrepreneur is you're a solution finder. That's all it is. You, as an entrepreneur, every single day, we're looking to solve problems. That's all it is. And so when you in that mindset and you're doing it, then that's how you control your challenges, because challenges are going to come.
Yes.
They don't stop coming. I'm not saying that, okay, I learned that and all my challenges are gone. No, you're always going to have challenges. But as an entrepreneur, it's an opportunity to get better. And when you develop the skill set to handle that challenge now goes away. It's no longer a challenge. You're going to get a different challenge. But you're just constantly getting better and better and better. So it's you as an entrepreneur, you want challenges.
Okay.
Because when there's challenges, that means there's opportunity for growth. Growth for the business, growth for you, growth for your employees, growth for everyone. So challenges are a good thing.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Leonard, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us and our viewers. And Anyway, folks, I'm hoping that maybe sometime soon we'll be able to have a trip to the Philippines, and you might be able to come. I mean, it's a long way for a beach. It's a different beach, and people are just a little bit smaller than Hawaiians, but we look pretty much the same and speak a little bit of a different language. Yeah. But anyway, looking forward to maybe sharing a little bit more, hearing a little bit more from Leonard, maybe as our show progresses and as things move forward. But anyhow,
awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonard. Have a great one.
All right. Aloha.
Thanks for watching our show. See you on the next episode of Design Your Life, hosted by yours truly, Frances Bauer, only on TNC.
Ang ubo, mabilis lumala. Kaya dapat agapan. Dapat New Solmux Advanced Syrup. May 2 times zinc para ang ubo, imbis na lumala, tulungang mabilis mawala. New Solmux Advanced Syrup.
Unilab yan.
Ang 40D, tumutulong patibayin ng vital organs, iwas sakit sa puso at iba pang sakit.